Yeah, this is case number 192 on the calendar in the matter of Lucero versus Sater.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Judge parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Ms. Lucero, Mr. Sater, you have absolutely no first-hand knowledge about what went on the date that the car was wrecked by one or both of these young ladies, but the situation is this. You claim that this is your car and that your daughter was driving it, and she told you some kind of story about how this happened. Your daughter told you a story about what happened, but she was actually driving this car that was totaled. So why don't the two of you sit down? I have no interest in what either of you have to say. Girls, step up. First name?
Amber.
How old are you, Amber?
18.
When did you turn 18?
February 24th.
2010?
Yes.
And when did you get this car?
Approximately 3 months before my birthday.
How come he gave you the car 3 months early?
Because my other car, the transmission blew, so I didn't have any way to get to school.
So now this is your car?
Yes.
Now you can tell me the story. You're the plaintiff.
Okay. So approximately
Don't look down at Eva. You look right here. Tell me the story.
Around 10 p.m., me and Courtney decided to hang out with one of our friends, Kevin, at his house that lived right up the street from us. So I drove...
He lives down the street from?
From me. And we drove to his house.
Who drove?
I did.
And how long had you been with Courtney that evening?
About, I would say, 3 hours.
At your house?
Yes.
Parents home?
Yes.
What were you doing?
Probably just getting ready, taking showers.
Were both of you taking showers?
Yes.
And getting dressed?
Yes.
So she must have brought clothes over?
Yes. It was a regular
Well, if she brought
occurrence.
clothes over, then I assume she intended to spend the night with you.
Well, we were best friends, so we didn't really know where we were going to spend the night either, or her house or my house, depending on the situation.
Well, Kevin's house was right down the road from you.
Yes.
Did Courtney drive to your house, or did you pick her up?
Her parents dropped her off.
So you were supposed to take her either home or back to your house?
Depending on the situation, yes.
Not depending on the situation. If her parents dropped her off at your house.
Yes.
And you were going out for the evening, and you were just going to start to hang out with Kevin.
Yes.
At 10 o'clock. There is no question in my mind that the plan was that either she was going to sleep at your house or you were going to drive her home.
Well, Kevin, we've slept there before, so it was...
Slept at Kevin's before?
Yes.
Both of you?
Yes.
Now, at that time you were 18. Had you discussed with your mother the fact that you may be sleeping at Kevin's?
No.
No. You see where we're going? Not going to be easy. The story that you told your mother is not going to fly with me. Unless, of course, it's true, which is always a possibility. Doubtful, but a possibility. Now, you got to Kevin's, and what happened?
We were just talking and relaxing.
And?
And we started drinking.
And?
And one of his friends was over, so it was like the four of us.
So now there were 4 teenagers talking and drinking and hanging out at Kevin's house?
Yes.
Keep going.
And we started drinking, and
Don't look over there. Don't look over there. Look right over here.
By that time, it was around 12 o'clock, and I was pretty intoxicated. I think we all were pretty intoxicated, and hopefully didn't plan on leaving that house, which I didn't.
Don't tell me what you planned on. I don't care what you planned on. Just tell me what you did. Now you're 12 o'clock. Everybody's drinking.
Yes.
What happened next?
And then we were all drinking, and I was pretty intoxicated by this point, and we were all just watching movies and making food and just hanging out.
And?
And by that time,
Now you're starting to get nervous. Now you're starting to get nervous. So let's not get nervous. Let's just understand that I'm going to hear the truth. Do you understand?
Yes.
If your mother hears it for the first time, that's not my problem.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Perfect. Go.
By that time, we were all drinking, and
I heard that 3 times already.
we were just chilling, hanging out, and by the time it must have been around 2 o'clock. 12 led to 2. We were all intoxicated. Time flies by when you've been drinking.
I understand drinking. Now you're trying to decide whether to tell me the truth. I suggest you do. Go.
I fell asleep on the couch. My keys were on the kitchen table. I awoke around 3 o'clock at night to find that my car, Courtney knocking on the door, holding her arm, crying, and I was like, what's wrong, what's wrong, what's wrong? She's like, your car. I'm like, what about my car, Courtney? She's like, it's down, it's down. I'm like, down where? And I started to panic.
What happened, Courtney?
From the beginning or from
No.
that point?
Let's start 12 o'clock, everybody's drinking.
Okay, everyone's drinking. We were just hanging out, like she said, making food, and then I decided I wanted to leave because I felt uncomfortable in the situation, and I asked Amber if I could take her car.
What do you mean you felt uncomfortable about the situation?
Kevin, I don't like him. He makes me feel uncomfortable. He like touches me. He tells me I'm beautiful. I don't like him. It was a friend, and like he just kind of got too close.
Okay, so you said you wanted to leave.
I wanted to leave. I wanted to sleep in my own bed, so I asked Amber. She was sleeping on the couch if I can take her car keys, and she said yeah. And so I got in the car and I drove down Crystal Ranch Road, and it's a steep hill going.
Okay, how drunk were you when you asked her for the keys?
Pretty intoxicated.
And the road that you were traveling on, is that the road to your house?
One of them, yes. It's Crystal Ranch is a community. There's only one road in and out, and that's the road that I was on. And it's a downhill road.
And is that where you wrecked the car? Mm-hmm. Now, when did you tell your father that Amber was in the car with you?
I didn't tell my father at first. I told the police that.
You told the police that?
Yeah.
So that was a lie.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You told the police that Amber was in the car? Hey! That's a lie.
When I was talking to the police...
Judy. 18-year-old Amber Lucero says during a night of drinking, former friend Courtney Sater took her car without permission and wrecked it.
Okay, so is what you're telling me that you lied to the police?
No.
Well, if you told the police that Amber was in the car... Hey! If you told the police that Amber was in the car with you, that's a lie. So what I want you to tell me is, was or was not Amber in the car with you?
Amber was not in the car.
So you lied to the police?
When I was talking to the police, I was really scared.
I don't care what you were. My question is a simple one. Did you lie to the police?
Yes.
And when you finished lying to the police, did you also lie to your father?
No.
So that your father lied to me. Your father said to me that Amber was in the car. Did you write this? Amber gave Courtney the keys to the car and asked her to drive both of them home.
Yes.
Victoria tried to tell the insurance company that my daughter stole the car. Who's Victoria? That's you.
Yes.
But the insurance company denied your claim.
Yes, they did.
Did your friend tell you that she wanted to leave?
No.
Ever that
No.
evening?
No.
Did you ever tell Amber that you wanted to leave?
Yes, I did.
When did you tell her that you wanted to leave?
Um,
Don't look down. Look at me.
about 2 or 3.
In the morning.
Yes.
And what was she doing?
She was cooking cup of noodles, and then she went to sleep.
When she went to sleep, is that when you took her car keys?
No, I asked her before that, and then when she went to bed, I left. But I asked her before she went to sleep.
Tell me what you, well, she was pretty drunk and so were you. So tell me what you said to her before.
When I asked her, I said, I want to sleep in my own bed. Is it okay that I take your car keys and then call me in the morning and I'll come pick you up?
And she said?
She said yes.
So now, you were driving with her permission, drunk.
Yes.
I believe that. Okay. Now parents can stand up. So let's understand this. First of all, this is her car, not yours. You made a gift to her. She's 18 years old. I don't care who the car's name is titled in. It's her car. And she says that it was her birthday present.
Yes.
She is partially responsible for what happened that evening. She assumed the responsibility of driving a car, and she got drunk, and I believe she gave, even in her drunk state, her friend permission to go home because Kevin was getting too familiar. And I believe your daughter is partially responsible for what happened that evening because she had no right to get behind the wheel of a car drunk. How old are you?
17.
And if she's partially responsible for what happened that evening, so are you.
Yes.
What?
I would never give her the keys and knowing that she had been drinking. It doesn't matter
You
how
shouldn't have been
intoxicated.
drinking. If you drive your car, you're not supposed to be drinking.
Well, I was responsible to go to sleep and not give her the keys and not let anyone drive.
Let me explain something to you. I believe her when she said that she got the keys with ostensibly your permission because she didn't want to hang around with Kevin anymore.
Your Honor, Courtney had been getting phone calls earlier in the evening from a boy. She left at 3 in the morning to meet a boy.
I don't care. You don't think your daughter is at all responsible. I think she is. She didn't take good care of her car. If this car is in your name, and the insurance is in your name, and she got into an accident and got hurt, you would be responsible for her. Do you understand that? Mm-hmm. You're really responsible for her. And if she killed somebody while driving in the car drunk...
She took the keys, Your Honor, without my daughter's knowledge.
I don't believe that.
I do.
Well, I don't care what you believe.
It's true.
I don't care what you believe.
It's true.
I'm telling you that I don't believe it. And even if she did, she's 17. Your daughter's 18. I know that that doesn't make a difference to you, but one is an adult and one is a minor.
Within 3 months.
That's what the law is.
She took the initiative to take the keys, get in the car, and drive, thinking she was okay to drive. That's not okay. You take responsibility for your actions.
Listen, my dear.
Crash a car.
Let me explain something to you, my dear. You're 18. You're not legal to drink. She's 17. She's not legal to drink. You want to go to Kevin's house? Ask your mother to drive you there if you want to sleep there. Your mother doesn't know where you are. Were you home that evening?
Yes, I was, Your Honor.
Did you know she was going to sleep at Kevin's?
I checked it on the girls at 1:30 in the morning. They said they were sleeping at a friend's house.
Just a minute. That's not my question. You keep making excuses for her. At 1:30 in the morning, are you usually up?
It was before I go to bed. I always check on them before I go to bed.
You know, I want to tell you something. I find the fact that your daughter knows how to lie not falling far from the tree. I've been a parent to teenagers, and the only time I go looking for them at 1:30 in the morning is when I don't know where they are.
Judge, we text all the time. I stay up late on Friday and Saturday nights.
Great. You keep making the excuses, you're going to be getting into trouble. All I want to see is the check for the car, and I want to see how much half is.
Your Honor, what I have is the bill of sale for the car and all the repairs we put on it within the first 2 weeks.
I'm not interested in repairs. I'm interested in the bill of sale for the car. Thank
you. The car had a brand new $1,600 transmission, Your Honor, and $950 worth of brakes that we had to finance.
I don't care. You paid $2,700 for the car.
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,350. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I definitely regret it, and I will never do it again. And I wish I didn't.
We're kids. We do things that we regret, and you have to learn to live life. You have to learn and live through with your mistakes and take responsibility for them. We both did, so we're fine.
I feel absolutely horrible.
Everything was horrible, and wish I could take it back, but it's done.
It's still up in the air with the friendship situation.
Hopefully we'll be able to work this out and maybe be friends again, but who knows?
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Stewart versus Colley, step forward, please.
21-year-old Madeline Stewart is suing her former neighbor, Dawn Colley, for running over her dog's paw while driving down their street.
Miss Stewart, the defendant car hit your dog, and you believe that she is responsible for the veterinary bills for your dog.
Yes.
I don't think so. You had 2 dogs?
Yes.
What kind of dogs do you have?
Boston Terriers.
The car was parked across the street from where you live?
I was parked in front of my house, and across the street is where the dogs use the restroom.
You took the dogs out?
Yes.
Without their leashes?
Yes.
And you took them across the street to take care of their business?
Yes.
And then you crossed the street and one of the dogs was with you?
Yeah, I put him in the car.
And you put that dog in the car, and the other dog that you left across the street ran across the street?
Correct.
And that's when the dog was hit by the defendant's car?
I was keeping an eye on him still at the same time.
I don't care whether you were keeping an eye on him. Evidently you wasn't keeping an eye on him because he got hit by the car.
She was doing something in her car, Your Honor. Sorry.
That's why they have leash laws, to protect other people and to protect dogs. I don't know if there's a leash law where you are,
no leash law,
but that's why people keep their dogs on leashes, so they don't get hit by cars. Why did you leave that dog across the street to go put the other one in the car?
We've been doing it for years.
So what happens? Whose fault do you think that is?
Well, I feel that it's her fault because she was speeding.
Yeah.
I waved, you can see in the surveillance video, I was waving her down to slow down, and she did not slow down whatsoever. She passed me by like 5 houses.
Okay. First of all, it's your responsibility. You're supposed to take care of your dogs.
Yes.
But I'll look at your video.
Yes.
I don't see you waving your hand.
There's another view.
It's your fault.
She passes me up
It's your fault. And then she backs up.
at a fast speed as well.
It's your fault. You're responsible for your dog. Your dog was in the middle of the street where cars are supposed to be. And it may make you feel better to think it's somebody else's fault and you're not responsible for your dog's injuries. But it isn't. It's your fault. And if you choose to walk your dogs without a leash and leave it unattended on the other side of a roadway, you bear the consequences of what happens, not somebody else. And somebody else also has to endure, because of your negligence, the fact that they hurt an animal. I would have been furious with you. If I had hit your dog, I would have been furious with you, not the other way around. I swerve to avoid a squirrel when it crosses the street and it can have an accident because I don't want to sleep at night thinking about that thud under my car.
I'd like to show you the picture.
I don't care about pictures.
It's a dead-end street.
I don't care.
Blind corner.
You left your dog across the street so that in order to get to you, the dog had to cross traffic lanes. That was an irresponsible, ridiculous thing to do. It's your fault. Squarely. Your fault. Your case is dismissed. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It is what it is.
I think it was fair.
It was extremely devastating.
She was not paying attention to her dog.
There's no leash law in Albany.
There is no leash law in Albany, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't still be watching your dog.
He had a concussion and his nose was bleeding, his leg was broken.
Well, it had run up the side of the hill. She brought it down and put it on the ground. When she had its paw went like this, so it was clear that it had a broken paw.
Don't let my dogs out of my sight.
Lesson to be learned is that you should be paying attention to your dog at all times, especially in areas where you know, cars are coming by.
Yeah, it's case number 168 on the calendar in the matter of McKenzie versus Crow. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ladies, have a seat.
Mr. McKenzie, on what date did this incident take place with Mr. Crow?
This was April 26th of this year.
And you were at your home.
Yes.
What were you doing at your home?
I just finished mowing, and I noticed from across the property...
No. I ask questions.
Oh, sorry.
You just finished mowing your lawn.
I just finished mowing my lawn, yes.
And Mr. Crow, what were you doing on April 25th?
I was doing my chores before my mother got home from work.
How old are you, Mr. Crow?
20.
Ever been in trouble?
No.
Mr. McKenzie, ever been in trouble?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Mr. McKenzie, doesn't make me feel comfortable. If somebody said to me,
25 years
have you
ago-
ever been in trouble?
About 25 years ago, I had a DWI.
Not since.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you want to tell me your version of what happened on the 25th of April between you two neighbors?
Well, I finished mowing my lawn, and I noticed from across my property that Mr. Crow appeared to be angry at his trash cans. He was jostling the cans. He knocked one down. He was mad for some reason. So he put his cans away, and then I heard his front door slam. So I thought I was alone. I had my little pliers here, and I began to work on my little green fence, a little wire fence between our properties.
What were you doing with the fence?
It was all bent, and I put it up because the dogs pee on the lawn, and
Whose dogs?
their dogs next door.
What kind
And,
of dogs do you have, Mr. Crow?
I have a Yorkie and a poodle.
And you let them out without a leash?
No,
Sometimes?
that doesn't happen.
Well, then why would he put up a fence?
We've had some difficulties before.
Tell me.
There's been times when he cut down our shrub ridge. There was times when he pointed a laser pointer at my mother's head.
Well, they couldn't have pointed a laser pointer at your mother's head over nothing. What was the argument about? You mean he just came out one day and pointed a laser at her
Well,
head?
I wasn't even home when this situation occurred.
So you don't know what happened?
Well, I No, I guess I don't.
What other difficulty have you personally had with Mr. McKenzie?
Well, I have a VW bus outside my house, and he says it's an eyesore. And one time we caught him outside underneath my van taking out the fuel pump when I wasn't even home. I was at the neighbor's house, and my mother came out and told me, Chris is underneath your van, you need to go talk to him. And he took out the fuel pump without even my consent. I wasn't even home.
Took out the fuel pump?
Oh, it's not running yet, and I guess he was trying to help me get it running, but I never said that he could go underneath my van.
What do you mean, sir? You guess he was trying to help you get it running. What does that mean?
Well, he's talked about trying to get it running, but I never gave him the consent to go underneath my van.
Hey, I'm beginning to get a sense of who you are. It doesn't look good for you. Because when you first tell me a story about him going without your permission and he went under your car to vandalize your car by taking out a fuel pump, that's totally different from saying, well, we had talked about him fixing it. Maybe he thought he was helping me, but I hadn't given him specific permission to go that day.
Well,
those are two different things, sir, whether you gave him permission or not. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you again. What specific problems did you ever have with Mr. McKenzie?
Going underneath my van without my permission.
Let's go, Mr. McKenzie.
Okay, after he put his cans away, he went in his house, he
Slammed the door.
Slammed the door. I assumed he went into his house, and I said out loud, I wish he would get that piece of ass going. To myself, out loud, not very
loud.
loud.
You didn't say it to direct it towards anyone, but you
No,
said it in
ma'am.
a loud voice.
No, not in a loud voice, but it was audible. And
You
next thing
didn't just think it.
No, ma'am. I spoke it
Oh, okay, keep going.
about as loud as I'm speaking now. And next thing he came from out of nowhere, and he says, what the F are you talking about? You know, you don't have any right to mess around with my truck. And I said to him, well, I'm sorry, but I'd like to know when we can work on it again. I've been under it twice. He was there when I took off the fuel pump. We both stood side by side and looked at the manual.
Of course.
So he just became extremely angry. I couldn't deal with it. And he was saying terrible things I'd rather not repeat. And then I was just trying to kind of get away from him. And he jumped over the fence right here and backed me back into this little area
He
there.
jumped over on your side of the
Yes,
fence.
ma'am. Came over on my side. He came over kind of like a caveman, more or less, on both feet, just landed just like that, and began coming at me at the back. And then he was coming. So I just put my hands up. I was actually the first person to touch, but I was just pushing him away. And I was trying to get around the corner to get away. And as I was like that, he knocked me down. And when I went down, I turned around and I realized I had the little pliers in my hand. These little pliers, and from my knees, I threw them kind of backhanded at him, and it helped me as a diversion.
Just listen to me.
I'm sorry.
Is what you're telling me, sir, that you let the pliers go from your hand before you made a connection with him?
Yes, ma'am.
And he was on your property?
Yes, ma'am. He was on my property.
What brought you to his property, Mr. Crow?
He told me he was going to blow my face off.
Tell me about it.
Okay, I was taking out the trash, and I heard him yelling and cursing about his fence, so I walked up to him and I said, what's going on, Chris? What are you doing? You need to go.
Now, this time you were on your side of the fence.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I come out to him and I say, you need to go inside, stop being disrespectful, just do whatever you need to do, just go inside and leave everyone alone. And he said that, I'll blow your face off. And I said, you can't say that, that's a death threat. And we got into an argument again, and then he called me the N-word, and that's when I went over to his side of the property, and I said, what did you call me?
So you jumped over the fence?
Yes. And he repeated to push me, and I wasn't aware if he was going to hit me with the pliers or not, so I fell backwards. I got back up, and I pushed him back, and he tried to come at me with the pliers, and that's when I got around him before he could hit me, and I hit him, and he had an abrasion on the side of his face, and...
You can't do that, Mr. Crow.
Okay.
You can make whatever excuse you like, and your mother may have bought the excuse that you made, but you can't go on his property in an aggressive way. Did your mother ever teach you sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me?
Yes.
I taught that to my children. I assume that my children teach it to their children. If somebody is behaving in an aggressive manner and behaving foolishly, as the behavior that you ascribe to Mr. McKenzie, which I'm not sure I totally buy, because I think you were in a bad mood.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What is this from?
From the
Chris McKenzie says neighbor Ryan Crow owes for medical bills and broken glasses due to an assault. Ryan claims Chris hit him first.
Now, you can't, in anger, go on somebody's property and expect them not to defend themselves. Do you understand? That's what you did. You were furious. That's a pretty high fence to have to jump over. You don't jump over a fence like that unless you're furious. And what did you intend to do when you jumped over the fence?
I just said, "What'd you call me?" And
You
then
could have
that's when
said
he
that
pushed.
from your side of the fence. What'd you have to jump over to his side for? You wanted him to hear you better? Do you understand what I'm saying, Mr. Crow?
Yes.
You can't do that. Now, I want to see pictures of your injury, please, Mr. McKenzie. Mr. McKenzie, do you have anything to drink on the 25th of April?
26, Your Honor.
On the 25th or the 26th?
I believe it's the 26th, yes, ma'am, which is a Monday trash day.
Did you have anything to drink on the
No.
26th of April?
No,
is my
not at all.
question.
I'm sorry, no, not at all.
You have any pictures of your injury, sir?
Yes.
I'd like to see them. What is this from?
From the pliers he threw at me.
Well, this is more than a threat.
Yes.
Mr. McKenzie, can you explain this to me, sir?
Well, he was coming at me, and when he came, I threw it, and I was able to get up to my feet.
That thing that you just brought me and showed me did not cause this damage.
No, but this is a reasonable facsimile. I didn't
Your
say...
case is dismissed.
Why would you do that?
I'm doing that, sir, because you lied. Because in your direct testimony to me, you led me to believe that it was either that or a replica of that you had in your hands. I had this little...
That is the truth.
I had this little pliers here, and I was fixing my fence, and this injury was not caused by that. And then when you say to me it was a reasonable facsimile, that's why your case is dismissed. Do you understand? For the same reason that the district attorney refused to prosecute it. Because, Mr. McKenzie, you behaved badly. And you lied to me.
I didn't lie.
And you lied to me.
No, ma'am.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You only lied to me once. I'm not saying that what he did was right. He assumed an aggressive posture with you. I think that your big mouth got you into it. There's no question in my mind that your big mouth got you into it, and he reacted to you. And if you said to me, I had a 12-inch pliers, and I threw it at him in order to get him away. Hey, put that down. All
pliers.
I'm listening to is what you said to me, sir. Don't show me anything. I'm listening to your sworn testimony. First, your big fresh mouth got you into it, and he behaved in an inappropriate way by coming onto your property. And in all probability, but for the fact that you lied to me, Mr. McKenzie, I would have awarded you some... Just be quiet.
I did not
I would
lie.
have awarded you something, because he can't come over to your property in an aggressive way, even though your aggressive mouth started all the problems. But because you lied to me, Mr. McKenzie,
I didn't
I'm
lie, Your
dismissing your
Honor.
case. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was not the first person to say the N-word.
I had never said anything to him like that.
He said first.
I was really shocked when he called me that.
He said about my mama being one.
And I would never want to call anyone any kind of racial slur or anything like that.
And I said, no, I think you are.
He's really, really far out there guy, and I just want to be left alone. That's it.
And then that was it. He came across the fence.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of O'Brien versus Russell. Step forward.
Elizabeth O'Brien is suing the father of her son, Daniel Russell, for breaking her car's side view mirror and for smashing the windshield with a tire iron.
Mr. Russell, I'm going to start with you because I think that most of the facts in this case are not in dispute. Only one small piece is in dispute. You and Miss O'Brien have an adult child that I assume would be you.
That is correct.
And he was visiting at your house.
Correct. I had a party that evening.
And he probably, maybe he had too much to drink or whatever, but he had become, according to you, belligerent.
Correct.
So you told him to leave.
That was after an accident involving a friend of ours that left that evening backed into the vehicle, which I witnessed.
Backed into whose vehicle?
His vehicle, which is parked at
My
the
vehicle, Your Honor.
A friend backed into...
a vehicle that he drove to the party that night, parked on the other side of the driveway. They were leaving. I witnessed them back into it. They
This
took
was
off.
another guest of yours.
Yes.
And then what happened, Mr. Russell?
Then they left without stopping.
These are the friends of yours?
Correct. Yes, they did. I came into the house. I had told my older son to go get DJ so I can let him know what happened. I let him know exactly what happened. I says, relax, don't worry about it. Everything will be taken care of. They're friends of mine. He went out there and looked at it. He came in all irate, complaining. He went back out again for a second time, came in again, and finally I says, I had enough. Either you need to be quiet or leave. And then he kind of got a little belligerent with language, foul language. Then I basically escorted him out the house. He walked past my truck, took his fist, slammed it against my side mirror on my truck, broke the mirror. So in that case, I followed him up to his truck.
Okay,
And
so you broke the mirror on your dad's truck, right?
correct.
So I knew the facts weren't so much in dispute.
Right.
And then what did you do, Mr. Russell?
I returned the favor.
Then you went back to his car,
I broke
the
his
car
mirror.
he was driving.
Correct.
Which happens to be the plaintiff's car, and you damaged her car.
I followed him up to his truck as he was getting in. And
Not his truck.
Well, his mom's truck, which I didn't know that at the time.
Could
So
have been
I
the police commissioner's
basically
truck.
an eye for an eye. Basically, I was a little at that point.
See how easy?
This is easy.
Can I see an estimate of the damage, please? This your husband?
I also have a report on damage on my mirror too.
You don't have a counterclaim. I don't care.
I didn't break his mirror.
Shh. So they want $163 for the mirror, and what is this other $209 for?
One estimate is for the mirror, and the other estimate is for the windshield.
Well, what happened to the windshield, Mr. Russell?
Well, that's another story where after I had responded back to him with her mirror,
You mean after you had broken the mirror off of his mother's car?
yes, he had gotten in the vehicle. I had turned around to come back up the driveway. I turned back around and seen that he had come out of the truck with a tire iron. Now, at this point, he's been drinking. I don't know what's going to happen. I walked up to him and basically fought to get that out of his hand, and it basically went towards the windshield.
And it broke a windshield?
Absolutely. Nothing deliberate.
Just a second. It doesn't have to be deliberate, even if it was deliberate. I don't care whether it was deliberate or not. Mr. Russell, you have to pay for it. Not a good lesson.
How about my mirror?
I don't care about your mirror. If you want to sue your son, sue your son. She didn't break your mirror.
No,
your
but
son
he
did.
did.
So sue him.
She wasn't there for all of
Just a
this.
second. Sue him. I mean, are you really being thick with me, or don't
No,
you really
no,
understand?
ma'am, not-
all right,
not-
then I'm
not at
all
all.
right, then I'm going to try to explain it to you. In order to sue for property, you have to have an insurable interest in the property that was damaged. Your son has no insurable interest in his mother's truck. She doesn't have to be there in order to be compensated for someone else's negligent behavior or purposeful behavior to her property. It's the same thing as if she wasn't home and you took a baseball and threw it through her window. She doesn't have to be there to see it. She has an insurable interest in her house, and you have to take care of that. So you have to take care of the damage to her truck because she had nothing to do with you damaging her truck.
Isn't he responsible for that?
No. For damaging her truck? No. That's you. You are totally responsible for damaging her truck. Now, if you choose to sue your son for breaking your mirror, you can do that. The law gives you tremendous latitude. How old are you?
23.
You can sue him.
None of this would have never happened if that didn't happen, what he started this whole thing.
Are you not following me?
Yes,
Or
I
are you
understand.
just being thick? I mean, is it just being thick, or you want another
No,
10
ma'am.
minutes?
No, ma'am.
I tried to explain it to you in a kind way. Bird can tell you it's the kindest he's seen me in about 3 hours. I tried to explain it to you, Mr. Russell, even though your behavior was so outrageous that day with your son, that I would really like to put the fist down your throat. Because if you think that that's a good example, to show that his temper is responded to with his adult father's temper.
He needs to learn how to talk to his father.
Just a second. Of course he does, sir. We
Right.
reap what we sow.
Foul language?
We reap what we sow. I have 5 children. None of them ever talked to me
Correct.
the way, just a second, none of them ever talked to me the way your son talked to you. How many children do you have?
I have 3 boys.
I have 3 boys, so you have at least a third of your children who opened up a mouth to you You only have one child with her. How old are your other two children?
16 and 8.
And you have them with this
Correct.
wife?
Yes, I do.
Well, good. You got a little way to go with them. But I'm telling you, your temper is inappropriate. Your response to your adult child was inappropriate. If you did something during the course of his lifetime so that he has no respect for you, that's not his fault, it's yours.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $354. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Nothing was done deliberately. I never caused the whole action of what he did.
I'm kind of painted as the guilty one for everything.
And just very upset about it right now.
But I understand. I'm just happy that everything's paid for and everything's over with at this point.
Yes, I can't really say. Only time will tell.
Just like you said, only time will tell. You know, we've been through enough before. Who knows?
Fott versus Shelp. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Fott, the defendant was your boyfriend. It is your claim that he owes money on a credit card for a television set. The television set was purchased when the two of you were together. You separated. The television remained in his custody. The bill has not been paid. That was over a year ago. The defendant has a couple of defenses. I'm not exactly sure that they are consistent. One, he says you made a gift to him of this television set. Take your hands out of your pockets. It's a complete telltale sign of someone who's uncomfortable with what I just said when you put your hands in your pockets, Mr. Shelp. And the second is that he was forced to take over the payments because you stopped making the payments on this gift, and he's been paying off television, right?
Yeah, the gift.
What do you do for a living?
Mechanic.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a server.
How long does it take you to accumulate $2,000?
Well, $2,000, I think that should be paid off within, what, 4 months?
You got interest, too.
I'm going to say goodbye to both of you in 1 second if you're not paying attention to my question and if you're being smart. Do you understand? Yeah. How long does it take you to accumulate $2,000?
Can you rephrase the sentence for me? I'm not quite sure what you're trying to ask.
You're a server.
Yes.
How long does it take you to accumulate $2,000?
Like make $2,000?
Yes.
About...
Put it together, accumulate.
About a month and a half.
And then you have to, from that money, pay rent.
Mm-hmm.
You have a car.
Yes.
Have insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Do you eat?
Yes.
You have a phone.
Yes.
So you have to pay all those things out of this money that you've accumulated over a month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
How much was the television set that was purchased?
Television was about $1,200, and then he purchased a game console that was an additional $500, and plus he's been paying with his credit card other things like going to Blockbuster.
Just a second. Quiet.
I have it right
Just
here
a
if you want to
second.
see the evidence.
No,
but he's
Ms.
been
Fowler,
paying all that
listen
money.
to me very carefully.
Don't trust her.
I'm going to give you 3, then I'm going to, which I might not ordinarily do, rule in her favor and throw you out. Do you understand?
I understand.
When did you take out this joint credit card?
In November 2007.
And when did you and the defendant separate?
In March in 2009.
And when was the last charge he put on this charge card?
Last month. He's only paid off about $300.
Just a second.
That's false.
I'd like, excuse me?
All right.
Is there something wrong with you?
No, I just want to express my opinion.
I didn't ask for your opinion yet.
Okay.
Can I see the statement of the last time you used the card?
Right here.
Why are you still using this credit card?
At times, I don't believe I've used it in the last few months.
Yeah, Rancho Del Oro? What is that, sir? Westmart in Carlsbad? What is that?
Gas station?
Yeah. Why are you still using this credit card?
Because my name's in it. You can use it, right?
What do you do for a living again?
Mechanic.
Did you graduate from high school?
Yes.
How long ago?
4 years ago.
You think you're smart?
Yeah.
You're not.
Okay.
I'm smarter.
You are very smart.
Smarter than you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But you know who we're both smarter than?
Huh?
Her.
Of course. Of course.
You know why? Because she's complaining about this credit. Uncross your hands. She's complaining about this credit card. You broke up a year ago, and she didn't cancel the credit card.
I can't.
Sure you can.
I called many times and they said I
You
can't.
don't call. Bring me a copy of a letter that you
I
sent
have
to
the letters
Chase.
right here that I have requested several times to get off the card and I can't.
Because they said...
Look, right here.
No, you're responsible for the balance until you say, I'm no longer on this card. I'm not being responsible for this card anymore. We are no longer together. I understand that there is a balance on it, and before that time, I understand I'm responsible. But starting today, I will no longer be responsible for that card.
I can't because of his credit. He's not eligible to be on it by himself, so I have to be stuck on that credit card for 20 years.
You don't.
It says right here.
You want me to see? You want me to show you how you don't?
Right here.
Go get your wallet. Mr. Shep, go get your wallet.
It's right here.
Give it to me. Bird, take his wallet.
My wallet?
Take his wallet.
My whole wallet?
Your whole wallet.
All right. The
Take
credit
it.
card's-
No.
credit card's right there.
Take the whole wallet.
All right. It's the other blue one.
This is Chase Rewards. Oh, there it is. Great.
Judge
Now-
Judy,
Yes.
can I please show you all the late payments that he has made on this credit
Just be
card?
quiet a second. Now, where's yours?
I haven't even activated it.
Just a second. Give it to me. Now, you call them up and tell them that the credit cards were destroyed and you are no longer...
Yeah, but the thing...
I want you to pay attention to me. And you are no longer for anything on these cards because you think that somebody, the person who destroyed them, might also use them illegally. Now, if he tries to call and get another card, he may have a little difficulty. Do you understand? But this card is finished. Over. Now you can give him back his wallet. Thank you very much. Now you can use all the other cards that you want to, sir, that are in your name. Now, you have the television set. The television set is no longer worth what it was before. But how much money have you paid on this account so far, sir?
So far, I don't think I could put a number on it. I don't know the exact number, but there was another thing on there, too. It's a game system, so...
And who has the game system?
I have a game system and a TV.
Well, if you have the game system, who's supposed to pay for that?
Me.
Right. And have you paid for it?
Done a few payments.
You see, at the end of this case, Mr. Shelp, 10 million people are going to look at you and say, you know what, he thinks he's a wise guy.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm glad you like yourself.
I
You're
love
going to have
myself.
to like yourself.
I'm going to hug myself.
With whatever you do, because sometimes it really feels great to have a good sense of self. You have to have the gravitas to back that up.
Judge Judy. Rachel Faw claims ex-boyfriend Ryan Shelp owes for unpaid charges on a shared credit card. Ryan says some of those charges were gifts.
Now, you have family?
Yeah, I have family.
What kind of family do you have? Mother, father, sisters,
Mother, father,
brothers?
half-sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Children usually like their parents to be proud of them doing the right thing, that they can say, that's my son over there. He's a really nice person, he's a smart person, and he's an honorable person. Nobody's going to think that.
Oh, yes, they will.
Excuse me?
Oh, I said they might.
Mr. Shelp, you'll always be where you are. You're a wise guy.
Thank you.
That wasn't a compliment, sir.
Okay.
And believe me, your family's not going to think it was a compliment.
Okay.
Believe me, you'll always be a wise Alec trying to hammer out a living. Because if you wanted to change your ways, this was a perfect place to do it. If you wanted not to be a wise guy and look like somebody that maybe had a chance of making something of themselves and not being, you know, just a bum, this would have been a perfect place in front of 10 million people to do that. You chose to be a wise guy.
Well, I like my decision.
That's too bad. And I'm glad you like yourself.
Yep.
I'm glad you like yourself.
I
You're going to
love
have to
myself.
like yourself for a very long time.
I'm going to hug myself.
With whatever you do. And I suggest, Mr. Shelp, that you do that.
I will hug myself.
I would suggest, sir, that you do that. Because sometimes it really feels great to have a good sense of self. you have to have the gravitas to back that up. And if you don't know what that word means, I suggest you go outside and look it up.
Oh.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,700. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I believe that she was right. I know I was stupid for signing the card.
I kind of disagree.
He was irresponsible. Never sign a credit card ever again until I am married, and I find that responsible man of mine.
Don't joint things until you really trust the person, or like she said, get married.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Alan Langston versus Moore. Step forward.
Dorian Langston and Alina Allen are suing their neighbor, Gwendolyn Moore, for causing their car to be impounded.
Miss Allen, I assume that you and Mr. Langston live together and own this car together.
The car belonged to him.
And what's your interest in this case?
Oh, it's my car, but this is my fiance. I mean...
I was the one that had given... We had been arrested.
Just a second. I know what the case is. I'm just trying to figure out what you're doing here, not him. I know that either you both own the car, because that's what the issue is about. So you're not really involved in this case, madam. You are merely a witness.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I guess too. All right, so these are the facts, Bert. I want you to listen very carefully.
Okay.
These two fine people were being arrested on outstanding warrants. The nature of the warrants I do not know, but I'm sure that they will tell me by the end of the case. As the police were taking them away, Miss Allen wanted to make sure that one of her children could gain access to the house and gave her keys to her neighbor. This would be Gwen.
Yes, it would be.
In order to allow the son to get into the house or something like that. On the keys were the keys to a 1994 Cutlass that Miss Moore took to buy some, I don't know, cigarettes or something at a local gas station, and then proceeded to lock the keys in the car. So far, we were understanding each other?
Right here.
The car eventually got towed, impounded, because Genius over here, instead of making arrangements to get the car, because she was the one who locked the keys in the car, she left it there.
I called Elena.
Don't speak. Genius, instead of taking responsibility, left the car there. Ultimately, the car is gone because it was towed, it was impounded, you couldn't get it out, whatever. You know, life is not easy. So they want the value of the car and the impound fees.
They pay the impound fees?
Did you pay the impound fees?
It's the outstanding bill. It's gone to collections.
When you pay it, you come back to see me. Now, where's the car?
Still in the impound.
Oh, so if you pay the impound fees, you can get your car out.
No, we have a letter from them that if it wasn't paid within
I'm not speaking to you. You have no interest in this case.
First of all, the car wouldn't be in the pound if she wouldn't have took it without permission.
Listen to me very carefully. My question is a simple one. If you pay the impound fees, can you get your car out of impound?
I mean, yeah, if we pay
No,
it.
you can't.
Right, Doesn't that make sense? If you pay the impound fees, you can get the car out of impound, unless, of course, they've auctioned off the car. Have they notified you they've auctioned off the car?
They sent me a letter in the mail saying that they was going to auction it off.
They were going to. When was that?
When they sent it, what?
It's in the letter.
Thanks. This might clear it up.
Bert, does your book go back to 1994 Oldsmobile Cutlass?
Four-door?
Yep.
Yeah.
$1,025.
Good, reasonable, fair?
Value good.
Okay. $1,025?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Very good. Now, you explain to me why, if you took the car...
Okay.
Well, by the way, what did you take the car for?
Okay, this is how it all happened.
I know how it all happened.
You don't know how it all happened.
What did you take the car? You were driving the car.
Exactly.
They weren't driving the car.
No, they weren't.
You took the car to go where? Answer my question.
Store. That's why
to go to the store to go.
And I asked her later.
You took the car. You took the car to the store. what happened when you went to the store?
The keys got locked. The keys didn't get locked in the car. The car locked. They have no door key for the car. I had the ignition key. They don't have a key to the door. That was it. They told me to break in the car. I'm not a car thief.
Just a second.
See, if she would have knew to take the...
If you say another word, I'm dismissing your case and you're gone. Do you understand? I'm coming back to find out what the two of you were arrested for in a minute. Listen to me very carefully. You had possession of the car. No one suggested you did not have legal possession of the car. If someone gives you permission to break into their car because you have locked the keys into your car, you're not a car thief. Do you understand that?
I know.
Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
So instead, you just left the car there.
No, I called her.
You told me that you called her already. She told you to break into the car and start it.
But I'm not a car thief, and I told her that. And I did arrange a ride for her. Yes, I did.
Listen to me. Just answer my question.
What's your question?
You left the car there despite the fact that the owner told you.
What am I supposed to do?
Told you. You're supposed to get the car open. What was...
I'm not a car thief.
I already resolved that. Is there something wrong with your brain? Is your brain fried from something?
Tell me how to get the car.
Is your brain fried from something? I already explained to you that if the owner...
Explain to me how was I going to get the car.
I'm going to tell you.
I don't know how to break in the car.
I'm going to tell you, madam. How was the owner supposed to get into the car? No, listen to me. I want you, before you open your mouth, maybe you'll be a successful person.
Okay, go ahead.
If before you speak, you use your brain and think. If you couldn't get into the car, how was she supposed to get into the car? Don't say, I don't know. No. I want you to think about it.
No, I got the question.
I want you to think about it.
They always break it in the car. If they knew to break in the car, she told me to use a wire hanger. She said to use a wire hanger.
Just a second. Listen to me. Now, I want you to use your brain and listen to me. If that's the way they would get into the car, and if that's what they told you to do because you had borrowed the car and taken it away from the house, that's what you should have done. Because then you're not then you are opening the car with permission of the owner. Now don't speak. Don't speak. I want you to try to digest what a judge with 35 years experience is telling you. I'm not wearing a sparkly top.
Of what, stealing?
Listen to me. I'm not wearing a sparkly top.
Is that what you're telling me?
But I'm telling you that that's what the law is. The law says you're not a thief. You're not a thief if you are breaking into the car.
It ain't got nothing to do with me being a thief or not. I don't know how to break in a car. I don't know how to break in no car. Well, what you want me to break the window?
We owe him $1,025. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The car locked. I didn't know she didn't have a door key.
I guess we all could have figured out a way to go get the car, but he was in jail. There was no man really to come help us get the car.
The car was locked. And the blizzard, we was a snowstorm too.
We obviously couldn't get it, and then it snowed and they towed it.
Not a car thief.
If she had permission to take the car, she would have known not to lock the doors, or the doors would lock automatically.
I had a traffic warrant.
What was the warrants for? I mean, that's a little personal right there. I like to keep that to myself.
I just want them to leave me alone. Don't talk to me.
Calendar in the matter of Brown versus Carter, Beresford. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat.
Mr. Brown, you have had a moped.
Yes, I did, Your Honor.
Where did you get it from?
I bought it from West Coast Products in California through the internet. It was drop shipped to my home.
When?
That was purchased in 1909.
And how much did you pay for it, sir?
I paid $920.
On what date did you no longer have your moped?
That would have been the 15th of May of 09.
Tell me under what circumstances you no longer had your moped.
Well, I stopped at the local Veterans Club, which I belong to, the AMVETS, which is a block and a half from my house.
You stopped there on your moped?
Yes, I did. I parked it inside and placed a cable through the wheel in the front. Went inside, sat next to Katie and John.
Just a second. John, what's your last name?
Beresford.
I have to tell you something, Mr. Beresford. And I'm telling you this from the bottom of my heart, as someone who has been in the legal business for a long time. You should never be in the criminal business. Do you want to know why?
Why?
Because you have a guilty face.
I got a guilty face.
Yeah.
How do I got a guilty face?
I'm just telling you. You know, I'm talking to you from 40 years worth of experience. That face is a guilty face. So sometimes you'll do something that's perfectly legal, and when somebody asks you if you did it, they're not going to believe you because you have a guilty face.
Yeah, face.
Don't
is a
say
face,
anything
but
else, sir.
Just 40
Okay,
years
so
down
you knew these two people.
I had seen them before in the AMVETs. I did not know them personally.
What were they doing?
Katie was having a drink and her son was alongside of her. He was 17, but because it's a private club, you're allowed to be in there underage.
So she was drinking.
Yes.
Your last name is Carter.
Yes, ma'am.
How long had you been there, Miss Carter?
Probably since about 7 or 8 that night.
And what time was this that he came in?
Your Honor, to be honest, I don't recall what time he came in.
Do you have a drinking problem, Miss Carter?
No.
Did you drink this morning?
No.
Continue, Mr. Brown.
So I came in, placed my scooter key, my cigarettes, and my glasses on the bar, ordered a beer. It was 20 minutes to close. They close at 3 o'clock in the morning. And as I say, I live a block and a half away. I placed the items on the bar. I had to use the restroom, went back, finished my beer. It was time to leave, and I couldn't find my key. So I asked the bartenders for a flashlight. I looked underneath the bar. I went outside. I took a look around the ground by the scooter, and I could not find a key. So I told...
You went outside, no moped.
No, Your Honor, the moped was still there.
Oh,
and still locked.
Well, interesting. Go.
So I left and walked the block and a half to my house to get my spare key. When I got back, it was gone. My witness, who is also my landlady, received a call that...
A call from whom?
From her nephew.
Can't tell me that, it's hearsay.
Okay.
As a result of whatever communications, you went over to Miss Carter's home.
Correct, Your Honor.
On what date did you go to Mrs. Carter's home?
I believe that was the 30th of May.
And tell me what you found when you went into Miss Carter's home.
Well, I walked up and both Catherine Carter and her son came out and talked to us on the sidewalk. And Ruth told the son that she knew that he had the scooter at the house. And he denied it. And then after about...
What did he say?
He said, I don't know anything about it. And then his aunt, this, believe it or not, he is her great-nephew, even though they live in a different town. She says, I know you have it. And then he admitted to having the scooter.
What did he say?
He said he had it at a friend's house and that he would get it for us later. And my witness told him, no, you'll get it for us now. She's quite a feisty gal. So he admitted then that it was in the house, in the kitchen, and I walked in with him, and there it was, totally disassembled, wiring harnesses gone, all the plastic pieces broken.
What do you have to say about that, Miss Carter?
Your Honor, I didn't go home that night. I left the post about 1 o'clock in the morning. I went to a friend's house for the evening. I come home the next morning about 10 o'clock.
Where was he?
He told me about 9 o'clock.
No. He was with you. You had been in the bar for a long time. He was with you when he was there at closing time, which was what time?
20 to 3. So she could not have left at
2:40 a.m. So you didn't go to a friend's house. Put your hand down. I'm going to get to you in a second. You see, if you look straight at me instead of looking like this, you look less guilty. You should actually try practicing that in the mirror.
I don't need to because I'm looking at you.
Listen to me. Try practicing. Trust me on this one, sir.
Trust
guilty.
me, I'm looking at you.
Not guilty. Guilty. Not guilty. More. Where did you get the bike from?
I got it from Whiting.
From who?
From Whiting. It's
Whiting?
a town. All right, once you start traveling, you'll know it's a town in Indiana.
When I start traveling, you think I'm going to end up in Whiting?
I don't know where you're going to end up. Where are you going to end up?
Listen to me. Not in Whiting.
Well, okay,
listen to me very carefully, sir. From whom and where did you get the moped?
From an old drunk dude at a bar in Whiting.
Well, so isn't that fascinating? Now, let me tell you how fascinating that is.
Tell me.
Listen, wise guy. I live well.
I can see
He
that
lives
too.
well. I have a feeling Mr. Brown lives well. I think that these people live better than you do. Do you want to know why?
Why?
They're honest and responsible. They're not thieves. I guarantee you, We all graduated from high school. What about you?
Nope.
How did I know that? I don't have your records here, but how did I know that? So, the answer is, sir, I'm not ending up in Whiting, and believe me, we have a happier life than you will have unless you change the way you do business. You want to be a bum? You be a bum forever. You'll have 6 or 7 kids with 5 or 6 different people. You'll work in a gas station for a couple of years, part-time. Then you'll work in a 7-Eleven store for a couple of years. Then you'll do a couple of years in jail.
Sounds good.
Then you'll get your license pulled because you're not paying child support. All of those things, Mr. Beresford, are in your future. Karnak sees it.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have a mother who's an alcoholic, and I don't know who else lives in your home. A mother doesn't take her 17-year...
Robert Brown claims 18-year-old John Beresford stole his scooter and stripped it for parts. John claims he bought the scooter from a stranger.
Karnak sees it, Mr. Beresford. And you know what the sad part about it is? It's not all your fault, because in all probability you have a mother who's an alcoholic, and I don't know who else lives in your home. A mother doesn't take her 17-year-old child to sit and drink in a bar for 4 hours, madam. That's not what a mother does with a minor.
I go to play pool.
It's not a bar. What were you doing there?
We go there to shoot pool, and yes, I had some cocktails.
Yeah. Listen to me. It is what it is. You were handed a plate in life, Mr. Beresford.
And I mean...
No, listen to me. You were handed a plate in life. You can either take that plate and say, you know what, I'm not crazy about this plate I was handed, and I'm going to do what's necessary for me to make myself into a whole better human being, because what I came from is not what I want to be. Listen to me, Mr. Beresford, because of your smart mouth, I know that you're intelligent. You didn't get what God was supposed to give everybody with regard to child rearing. But I'm telling you this, you have a choice. You're still young enough. You can either say, that's what I want to be, or I want to be something different. Stealing other people's property is going to keep you in the gutter. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. Out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Very firmly believe not only did the son steal it,
My son didn't steal the moped.
but that the mother took the keys and had the son steal it.
My son said he bought it for $300.
I do believe it was nothing but a BS story.
Cops came to me on it, so...
If I would have to try to figure out where he would get money of that type...
That's all I gotta say. I'm not in jail.
It might have something to do with drugs.
So, have a good life.
Or something illegal.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lemos versus Laboon. Step forward, please.
Monique Lemos is suing her ex-boyfriend, Brendan Laboon, for a loan to pay off an IRS tax lien.
Ms. Lemos, when did you file your first lawsuit against the defendant?
November of '09,
In what court?
Moreno Valley,
Where is that?
Riverside County.
And the nature of that lawsuit was a small claims case for the return of a loan.
Yes.
Did you serve him?
No, I could not find his apartment number.
So he was never served?
I emailed it to him.
When did you receive it, Mr. LeBon?
The email?
Yes, in November of 2009.
She sent one, I think it's towards the end of November. She just
How
said
long had it been? Just answer my questions. It'll make everybody's life, especially mine, so much easier. It may not make yours easier, but that's your problem. At the time that you received the email in November of 2009 indicating that she had, in fact, initiated a small claims case against you, at that time, when immediately prior to November of 2009 did you see the plaintiff?
Good question. I was actually, I moved back east for a time period, so I'd say it's probably 4 months prior to her serving me, which, to be honest...
Now, when you received the email at the end of November, I want to know what the first step was that you took.
Sure, I actually, we talked on the phone.
So you didn't email her back, you
I did
called.
not email her back at the first time she sent an email. I actually called her. Talked to her on the phone.
What did you say to her, and what did she say to you?
Well, to be honest, I didn't believe it was true. I didn't think she did it. She initially said she took it to court.
Listen to me, I don't care what you believed. I want to know, you received this email, you called her.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said to her?
Pretty much said, you know, what's this about? I mean, I was kind of shocked by it. Really didn't believe it.
I don't care whether you believed it. I don't care you were shocked. I just want to know what you said to her and what she said to you on the phone.
That's fine.
You get an email.
Okay, got an email. There was
that says summons.
Right, and then there was no date. She had a date, and then she changed it, and then she changed it again. There must have been three times I had
Listen
that.
to me. Brendan, you got an email. You called her. You said to her, and she said to you, what?
All right, she said she filed it.
And you said to her?
I didn't say anything. I said, well, I don't know how, you know, what the case is about.
And she said to you?
She said, well, read your email.
And what did the email say, Brendan?
Didn't say anything, just said she gave me a court date.
For how much money?
I believe it was $5,500.
Did you respond to that court date?
No.
Now, between November of 2009 and January 2010, how much money did you give Monique? Look at me.
Sure. On the basis, I'd probably...
No, I don't want to know basis. Dollar amount.
I'd say $1,200.
And when did you give her the $1,200?
Certain days.
I don't want to hear
every
certain
other month.
days. Alternate months.
Every other month, yes.
And how much did you give her every other month?
I'd say $300 to $400, depending.
How did you get it to her?
Either Western Union or cash.
When you gave her cash, that means you saw her.
Well, there was a time before
Look at
this
me,
I did.
Brendan. Don't look there. Look over here. Did you actually think you came here was going to be easy? You had to see her when you gave her cash. Where did you see her?
That's correct. Actually, on Easter, I saw her. That's the reason why I was giving her money. See, there's a reason why I was giving her money, Judge.
Let me hear.
Okay. Let's just start with the story, right? Let's start with the story.
I don't want to start out with your birth. I'm really not interested. We're starting out with the email, November 2009. That's all I'm interested in.
Okay.
She tells you you owe her money. You give her money. You are now going to explain to me why you were giving her money. Stop playing with your pants.
Sure. The reason why I gave her money is because initially I was getting threatening phone calls from her uncle and certain people that she's friends with. It was more of an intimidation factor why I was giving her money. On Easter, she came to me while we were dating at this point in time.
Just a second.
Sure.
So after November 2009, you began dating again?
No, we're going back.
I don't want to go back.
Well, she took me to court for a reason, right?
She took you to court because she
Right.
said you owed her money.
Right, and I'm
that
trying to
she
explain
gave
to you why that.
I don't care why.
Okay. Well, then I don't owe her any money. I really don't.
I want to know why you gave her money.
I just told you.
No, you didn't.
I said I was getting threatening phone calls.
I was getting threatening phone calls from people on her behalf.
Correct.
That's what you thought.
Correct.
Which is why you were giving her money.
Correct.
Now, on Easter of 2010, you said you gave her some cash.
2009.
Well, that was before you got
Correct.
this.
Correct.
Okay. So you gave her cash.
Correct.
In 2009. How much cash did you give her?
$600.
$600. And you got that money from where?
From my job. I mean, I was working. I mean, I get it from my checking account.
Checking account.
Yeah.
So you cashed a check.
No, I gave her cash and I gave her 2 checks. That was
No, I'm talking about the cash.
Okay, I gave her $600, yes.
Where did you get the cash from?
My checking account.
So you cashed a check. I mean, if you
I
gave
direct
her
deposit for work.
somehow you had to either go to an ATM.
Oh, yeah, ATM.
Show me.
I don't have that.
Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach? You had a whole story prepared. I assume that you have the evidence to support that story.
I like to see her evidence, actually.
Right now I'm interested in you. Your
Well,
evidence.
Yeah.
Show me the money. Easter.
It was cash.
2000.
It was cash.
Well, no. You said it came out of your bank account,
Yes,
of
ma'am.
your checking account, which
Right.
means it came out of an ATM.
Correct.
Or you wrote her a check. And you said to me in a very cavalier way, figuring I was not going to follow up, but your eyes were all over the floor, ATM. Just show me. That's easy. You need time to show me?
I won't be able to provide that today.
Oh, I don't think so. I'm sort of finished with him for the moment. Which one of your relatives called to give him a little bit of inspiration?
He's a liar.
No, and did any of your relatives call and give
Nobody
him a little
called him.
inspiration?
I called him. I threatened him.
How much money did you loan him?
Total $5,500.
And how much did he pay back?
He paid back $3,350.
He said he paid back $1,200. Why would he lie to me about that?
He paid back sporadically payments, $300-400 Western Union. He did give me 2 checks before I filed for the case. 2 checks. one for 22, one for 27.
Yeah, but they were not written on banks on which there were sufficient funds to cover those checks.
I went to the bank.
I know, I read it, and he said the accounts were closed. I know.
I threatened him that I was going to, file a check fraud, and my uncle was a police officer, and he gave me a lot of the information. So I did tell him that.
Oh, is that the uncle who called you?
I'm not sure if it was him or not.
You don't know. And when you say that there was a threatening call, did they threaten to break your kneecaps or to have you arrested?
It was a little bit of both, actually.
What were you more afraid of?
The kneecaps.
I would be too. Now, she says you paid her a lot more than you say you paid her. You said you gave her back $1,200. She says, all told, it was $3,350. So that means that you were a much nicer fellow than I thought you were.
That means there was no loan. There was never a loan in this matter.
Well, then why would you give her back all that money?
Because I was threatened by her family or her friends.
Her family, her friends, small change compared to me. I've had enough fun with you, sir. Paying her back is evidence of a loan. And since I believe her that she gave you what she said she did, you still owe her $2,200.
Thank you.
Judging for the plaintiff, that's all.
How does that actually messed up?
Well, it's obvious she saw right through him. He's a scam artist.
I was trying to help her out.
Very charming in person, but he's a liar.
Financially, at the time.
I never asked for a dime. I'm very financially stable, unlike him.
She was there for me for a little bit, and I was trying to be there for her.
When I went to cash the checks, and it turns out the account was closed.
Some checks were supposedly bounced, which I closed the accounts.
That's when I realized, this guy is a scam artist.
So I thought this would die, but she ended up taking this to court.
Takes advantage of people. So she saw right through.
Bu seni bugün bir yere kapattım ben.
Ya beni buraya nasıl getirdin kum? Nasıl getirdin? Neredeyiz böyle?
Senin uykundayken getirdim işte buraya. Ne oldu biliyor musun?
Ne oldu?
Seni 24 saat boyunca bu gezegende tutacağım.
Ya neden beni 24 saat boyunca bu gezegende tutacaksın? Ne yapacağım burada? Hiçbir şey yok.
Ya işte burada gelişip diğer gezegenlere gitmeye çalışacaksın. Sonra dedim ki buz tek başına sıkılır, o yüzden ben de senin yanına geldim.
Tamam o zaman, tamam hadi yapalım, diğer gezegenlere gidelim. Bir sürü bloğum var.
Her şeyi sen aldın, bana da ver birazcık ya, teşekkür ederim.
Al sana blok, hadi bu gezegenin içinden geçelim.
Evet hadi ilk başta şu gezegene gidelim, gördün mü burada bir sürü elmas var.
Evet onları toplarız, var ya zengin oluruz, ben yolu yapıyorum bile.
Tamamdır, ayrıca sana bir şey söylemem lazım. Bu oyundan kurtulmamız için bir şey yapmaları lazım bu video izleyenlerin.
Ne yapmaları lazım?
Deli gibi like atmaları lazım tabii ki de.
Atarlar ki, like dediğin nedir, bir kere dokunuyorsun atıyorsun işte, like atın çocuklar.
Evet 2 saniye bile sürmüyor değil mi like atmak?
Evet hadi like atın, ben de bu adayı keşfedeyim.
Sandıkta ne vardı söylemedin hiç.
Bir tane odun çıktı sadece, boş sandık.
Tamam o zaman bir şey olmaz.
Hadi bu adadaki her şeyi toplayalım ya, her şeyi toplayalım.
Burada elmaslar var ama demir var mıdır sence?
Demiri yok, görmüyorum ki demir. Şuradaki adaya gidelim, bak şuradaki ne?
Hangi adaya, görmüyorum seni, neredesin? Tamam geliyorum, arkandayım.
Ya gel hadi buradaki adaya gidelim ve zıptı çıktı dans ederiz.
Hemen chest'e bakmam lazım, ben burada hiçbir şey yok.
Burada bir cobblestone makinesi var, görmedin mi?
O ne işe yarıyor ki?
Biliyorumuz olmazsa diğer buradan alırız diye.
Tamam o zaman ben de kendime bir tane balta kazma yapayım da senin yanında ezik kalmayayım ya.
Yap ben de diğer adaya gidiyorum, hiç vakit kaybedemem, 24 saatimiz var ya.
Evet 24 saatimiz var, o yüzden biraz sakin olabilirsin gibi.
İşte demir buldum.
Tamam 3 tane bulursan çok iyi, ben de kömür buldum burada birazcık.
Ben de kazıyorum kömürleri, ben de kazıyorum.
Elmasları almamız için 3 tane demir ihtiyacımız var ve ben de bir tane buldum. Sende kaç tane var?
2 tane var, hadi birleştirelim ve yapalım yani, fırın yapalım.
Bende 4-5 tane oldu, 5 tane oldu, ikimizi de yapabiliriz.
Tamam ben fırını yaptım, bir haberin olsun.
Tamamdır, gel buraya, ben de şeyleri koydum. Bunların pişmesini bekleyeceğiz şimdi.
Evet, pişmesini bekleyeceğiz.
Karşıda koyunlar var, bak burada büyü masası var. Bu dünyalar neymiş ya, böyle elmastan dünya var orada.
Oraya da gidelim, lütfen oraya gidelim.
Tamam oraya da gideceğiz, merak etme, heyecanlanma, demirlerimizi alalım önce.
Çok heyecanlandım Yakum.
Ben de heyecanlıyım 24 saat boyunca var ya, burada kesin hiç sıkılmayız ki.
Evet hiç sıkılmayız.
Sen balta yaptın mı, demirden kazma yaptın mı?
2 tane demirim var, bir tane daha olursa yapacağım işte.
Gece oluyor, yatağını aldın mı sen oradan?
Evet aldım.
Tamam dur, birazdan uyuyalım burada.
Burada mı?
Evet burada uyuyalım, ne olacak ya, zombiler gelirse küçücük yerde nasıl baş edeceğiz?
Doğru söylüyorsun.
Bak hatta bak karşıda şey var, neydi bunun adı ya, tavuk spawner var.
Tavuk spawner'ı mı? Tavuk spawner'ında ne yapacağız? Ben kendime kazma yapıyorum.
Hemen eski dünyamıza dönelim de oradaki elmasları alalım değil mi?
Evet elmasları ben alacağım. Ben alacağım işte.
Hayır, paylaşabiliriz. İkimiziz sonuçta burada.
Tamam paylaşalım.
Burada başka nerede elmas vardı? Burada var, tamamdır. Bir tane elmasım oldu bile.
Benim de bir tane var. Başka elmas da yok burada zaten.
Emin misin? Bak gözden kaçırmayalım.
Eminim bizim adanın orada gördüm. Onu almaya gidiyorum.
Buz, ben düştüm.
Ya.
Ya Buz, bütün eşyalarım gitti.
Sen noob'un tekisin. Al sana biraz eşya verebilirim. Al işte.
Ya teşekkür ederim ya. Of, demir kazmam gitti. Elmasım da gitti.
Ben tavuk adasına gideceğim.
Ya tamam, git işte. Ben de ağlayarak geliyorum arkandan.
Sana attım işte bir şeyler. Şimdilik onları idare et. Elmas adasına gittiğimiz zaman inanılmaz şeyler yaparız.
Evet mantıklı konuşuyorsun. Ondan sonra büyü yerine gideriz. Bütün her şeyimize büyü basarız.
Aynen öyle. Geldik işte tavuk adasına. Bir sürü TNT var burada bak.
TNT'leri almasak mı acaba ya? Kendimizi patlatırız falan.
Almadım zaten. Sandıkta bıraktım.
Tamamdır. Buradan nereye gidelim şimdi Buz?
Buradan nereye gidelim biliyor musun? Önce şu adaya gidelim. Oradan da elmas adasına gideriz.
Tamam gidelim hadi, bloğumuz yeter mi o kadar?
Yeter, niye yetmesin ki?
Bilmiyorum ya, yolda biterse ne yapacağız orada?
Bitmez dönüp blok kazarız. Ne yapacağız, kum yani?
Tamamdır, redstone'ları alalım mı ya? İşimize yarar mı ki?
Sadece level işimize yarar. Başka hiçbir işimize yaramaz redstone.
Bloğum mu bitti?
Hayır, benim bloğum bitmez, unutma.
Buz korkutmuştun beni bloğum bitti diyor ya.
Gel bu adaya baktım, hiçbir şey yok burada. Hiçbir şey. Elmas adasına gitmek istiyorum ama önce kar adası.
Evet, kar adasına gidelim. Orada sandık var. Belki işimize yarayacak bir şey çıkar.
Evet, belki çıkar. Neden çıkmasın ki?
Ya çok da bir şey çıkmadı bu zamana kadar ama belki çıkar işte Buz.
Orada elmas adası var. Daha büyük ne olabilir ki elmas adası be?
Onun arkasında obsidyen adası var. Onda ne vardır ki sence?
O elmas kazma yaptıktan sonra öğreniriz.
Evet, mantıklı konuşuyorsun. Bak hatta buzdan var burada bir sürü, gördün mü?
Evet, benim işte buz ama bu adada hiçbir şey yokmuş. Beğenmedim.
Evet, hiçbir şey yok. O zaman hadi yürü gidelim elmas adamıza doğru.
Evet, yol yap hadi kum, yol yap. Orada bir tabela bile var.
Evet, acaba ne yazıyor orada? Senin İngilizcen var mı?
Var tabi.
Yo, nereden öğrendin İngilizceyi ya?
Okuldan okula gidiyorum. Derslerimi aksatmıyorum ve öğreniyorum işte.
Ben de öğrendim ama çok iyi değil, konuşamıyorum ben